Om Namo Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Want to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan, Jagannath Baladeశ్వర Bhuvanitai, Tulsi Mani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parapara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So, continuing with the 5th canto, 19th chapter, looking at the structure of the universe. This is the description. Name of this chapter is Description of the Island of Jambudvip. In Kim Purush verse, Hanuman worships Lord Ram as one who taught exemplary behavior of a king. Since Lord Ramchandra is the Supreme Personality Godhead, Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls. Of course, he goes beyond that. He is the super soul of everyone. But he's most beloved of those who are self-realized, because those who are self-realized can perceive the Supreme Lord next to them. He's their very intimate friend. He's full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife. There is no question of separation. This is they're talking about when Sita Mata went to the forest after returning back to Ayodhya after being 14 years in the forest. And there was separation at both times. When they were in the forest, the final year was in separation, and then after they returned, there was separation. But of course, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his eternal consort. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramchandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. Right? He's transcendental. He's beyond all of these material designations. So his relationship with us is based on, well, he says it here, Lord Ramchandra accepted even monkeys as his friends because he accepts only devotion. So that is the key, bhakti. In Bharatvarsh, this is where we are. So these different varshes are the 9 different islands. The Bhagavatam is explaining how the residents of these 9 varshas were offering different prayers to the Lord. So in Bharatvarsh, at Badrikaksha, Narad worships Lord Narayan, who teaches his devotees religion, knowledge, pronunciation. I think that must be renunciation. Spiritual power, sense control, freedom from false ego. Oops. Second, Narad prays for the power to execute bhakti yoga in order to control the restless mind and fix it upon the Lord. So we all have this problem, restless mind. Whilst we're in the material world, our mind is very close to us, controls us, perhaps, if we are unfortunate, and is very restless, wanting so many different avenues of sense enjoyment to connect to. But the only way really to control this mind is by bhakti yoga, in connection with God, with the Supreme Lord. That's and fixing it on the Lord. So this is Narad Muni, Narnarayan Rishi in Bharatvarsh. After many births of pious activities, one gets the opportunity to associate with the devotees of the Lord in the human form in Bharatvarsh. So Bharatvarsh is regarded very, very important. Those who take birth in Bharatvarsh, they have a special responsibility to this world to spread Sanatana Dharma, to take it and to give it. That's their special dharma, duty. Very fortunate if anybody can take it up. All the demigods aspire for such a birth to perform devotional service, to quickly attain perfection and go back to Godhead. To achieve heaven, this is heaven, not the spiritual world, one must perform the very difficult task of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergo austerities, observing vows, giving charity. But what is the value of this achievement? Because engaging in material sense gratification, the demigods hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. So what's the point of going to heaven? You're not going to remember God. It's just enjoyment there. There's no question of surrendering to God because one is in an enjoying mood. A devotee may worship the Lord for material things, but the Lord instead gives him the shelter of his lotus feet. So sometimes devotees may have some desires, material desires to fulfill. So they will approach the Lord. Nothing wrong in that. Bhagavatam explains whether you have some desires, no desires, material desires, or or nothing, you don't want anything, still approach the Lord. But the Lord gives him the shelter of his lotus feet. This is the beauty of the Lord. He will look at the desire of the devotee and he will decide what is good for my devotee, which satisfies all his desires. A short life in the land of Bharatvarsh is preferable to a kalpa. Kalpa is a day of Lord Brahma, equal to 4.32 billion years. So it's preferable to have one day, a short life in Bharatvarsh to one day in Brahmlok. Because although life in Bharatvarsh is very short, one can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection by fully surrendering onto the lotus feet of the Lord. This is the beauty of where we are, Bharatvarsh. And remember, the whole planet was actually Bharatvarsh at one point. So we have this special duty. A devotee may worship the Lord for material things. We've been through that. This is the Lord's special mercy, that he will give his special mercy. He will give his shelter. When the sons of Maharaj Sagar was searching all over the world for their lost horse, they dug up the earth and created 8 adjoining islands. So chapter 20, studying the structure of the universe. After describing Jambudvip, Sukadeva Goswami now explains the remaining 6 islands of Bhumandal. Plaksha Dweep surrounds Jambudvip, which is itself surrounded by an ocean of sugarcane juice. The residents of Plakshadvip worship the Lord in the form of the sun god, Suryadev, Surya Narayan. People living here manifest qualities of longevity, sensory process, physical, mental strength, intelligence, and bravery. So we're looking at all the other 6 islands. Salmali Dweep is surrounded by the ocean of liquor. There is Salmali tree, which is the residence of Garud. The residents of Salmali Dweep worship the moon god, Soma. They pray that he may remain their king and guide. Kushadweep. Outside the ocean of liquor is Kushadweep, which is surrounded by an ocean of liquid ghee. There are lumps of kusha grass which appear like fire with mild and pleasing flames. The residents of Kushadweep worship the demigod of fire, Agni. They pray to Agni to carry their offerings to the Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate enjoyer, real enjoyer. So these are the different dweeps that we've been talking about. They're all surrounded by different oceans: sugarcane, liquor, ghee, and then we have ocean of milk, then we have ocean of yogurt. Cone Dweep. Outside the ocean of ghee is Konchwa Dweep, which is surrounded by ocean of milk. There is a great mountain, Koncha, on this island. The residents worship Varun with a palm full of water. They pray for purification. Sakadweep is surrounded by an ocean of churned yogurt. The residents practice pranayam and mystic yoga. In trance, they worship the Supreme Lord in the form of Vayu. They pray for protection from all dangers. It is acceptable to offer worship to the demigods as long as one's understanding is that the demigods are representatives of the Supreme Lord. If one is worshipping the demigods as independent from the Supreme Lord, then that worship will not necessarily help the practitioner, because the understanding may not be completely correct. So, very important. But there is nothing wrong with worshipping a deity that you're fond of, and maybe a devata, as long as you understand, especially Lord Shiva, for example. A lot of devotees worship Lord Shiva. And if it is only to worship him for material gains, thinking that Lord Shiva is a supreme Lord, willing to, able to give whatever we want, and which he is, but that is a wrong understanding. Because actually, if you really want the mercy of Lord Shiva, is to beg him, please let me become closer to your worshipable deity, Sankarshan or Krishna. Then we get full benefit. Outside the ocean of yogurt is Pushkara Dweep, which is surrounded by an ocean of pure water. There is golden lotus flower, which is seating place of Lord Brahma. In the middle of that island is a great mountain named Manasotara, upon which the chariot of the sun god travels. The residents offer prayers to Lord Brahma as the form of manifest Vedic knowledge. Sukadeva Goswami now describes the remaining land of Bhumandal beyond the 7 dweeps. So this is roughly what we have gone through, Jambudweep, and then the different oceans, the different dweepas. Pretty complex structure. Loka mountain divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. There's also a golden land which is uninhabited. Loka is the outer border of the 3 worlds, Bhulok, Bhuvalok, and Swalok. On top of this mountain are 4 elephants which maintain the planetary systems. The Lord also manifests in the 4-armed form on top of the mountain. Outside Loka mountain is a tract of land known as Alokavarsh, which extends for the same breadth as the area within the mountain. In other words, 125 million yojanas, that's 1 billion miles. Beyond Alokavarsh is the destination of those who aspire for liberation from the material world. It is beyond the jurisdiction of the material modes of nature. Therefore, it is completely pure. Lord Krishna took Arjuna through to this place to bring back the sons of the Brahmins. Right. The sun is situated in the middle of the universe, between Bhrulok and Bhuvalok, in Antariksha, outer space. The sun god and sun planet divide all the directions of the universe. Because of the presence of the sun, we can understand what the sky, the higher planets, this world, lower planets are. All living beings depend upon the heat and light given by the sun god from the sun planet. Furthermore, it is because of the sun's presence that all living entities can see. So this is a little idea of what's just been described in the Bhagavatam. So again, we've got all the different oceans, and then beyond that, we've got Manosattara mountain range. Then we have this uninhabited land of 1 billion miles. Then we have golden land, and we have Loka mountain, Aloka Versh. So this is like, it's very, very extensive. Very extensive. 21. The movement of the sun. The diameter of the universe is 4 trillion miles. Phew. And this is the smallest universe. So the sun is situated in the middle of the universe. And being the hottest of all planets by its radiation, it heats up heats up the 3 worlds. According to the sun's movement, day and night are short, long, or equal to one another. When the sun travels in the south, the day grows longer. When it travels to the north, the day goes shorter. So this is a little idea of the movement of the sun through the different signs, zodiac signs. To the south, day becomes longer. North, day becomes shorter. The sun travels over all sides of Manasottara mountain, passing through the residences of Indra, Yamraj, Varun, Chandra. Wow. This is the whole universe, some of which is got water at the bottom. And then we have this Bhumandal. We have the sun, which circles, the Rahu, the moon. The sun's speed, 16,000 miles a moment. Wow. Its orbit, 760 million miles long. So it's extensive. Sunrise, sunset, midday, midnight occur in different places when the sun is east of Mount Sumeru. Then those who reside in the south of Sumeru perceive sunrise. Those west, midnight. Those east, midday. Those north, sunset. When it shines at noon, it is midnight at the city, diametrically opposite. In a similar way, the moon, along with the other stars and planets, become visible in the celestial sphere and then sets and again becomes invisible. So this is Suryadev, who controls the sun, the movement of the sun. It's got 7 horses. Can't remember the name of the charioteer now. It's got a special name. The chariot of the sun god, which is Trayimaya, or worshipped by Gayatri mantra, Om Bhurvua Swaha, travels through the 4 residences mentioned above at a speed of 3.4,800,000 yojanas. That's 27,206,400 miles in a murta, 48 minutes. Wow. Regarding the wheel of the chariot of the sun god, the 12 months are calculated to be its 12 spokes. The 6 seasons are sections of its rim, and the 3 Chaturmasya periods are its 3-sectioned hub. 3 Chaturmasya periods. The chariot of the sun god has only one wheel with an axle having one side on Sumara and the other side of the axle rests upon Manasotara mountain. So one wheel. Otherwise, how is he going to go around the universe? There is a second axle attached to Dhruvlok by a rope of wind. The chariot's horses, which are named after Gayatri and other Vedic meters, are harnessed by Arundev. Aha, Arundev, that's the chariot, to a yoke that is 900,000 yojanas wide. Although Arundev sits in front of the sun god and is engaged in driving the chariot and controlling the horses, he looks backwards towards the sun. So Dhruvlok, this is the axis, and Mount Sumeru is also attached to the axis, going around the universe. 60,000 saintly persons named Valikilyas, the tiny thumb-sized sages, offer eloquent prayers in front of the sun god. 14 other saints, Gandharvas, Asparas, Nagas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and demigods perform ritualistic ceremonies at will as well. So they are in front of the sun god. They are glorifying the Lord. Let's do one more chapter. The orbit of the planets. So Parikshit Maharaj inquires from Sukadev Goswami. As the sun god travels around Dhruvlok with both Dhruvlok and the mountain Sumeru on the right, and yet at the same time, the sun god faces the sign of the zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvlok on his left, how can we understand the sun god proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvlok on both his left and right simultaneously? Really intelligent question, because it's so hard to understand with our tiny intelligence, tiny brains, what Sukadev Goswami has explained. But Parikshit Maharaj is very sharp, even though he's been fasting for many days now. Very sharp. Answer. Just as the motion of ants on a potter's wheel, which are moving in the opposite direction to the rotation of the wheel, is different from that of the wheel, the planets in the sun move separately from the zodiac and thus shift through different constellations and zodiac signs. There's no contradiction, since there are two separate movements, the movement of the time wheel and the individual movement of the planets. So I won't even try to understand the answer or the question. But just we should understand that whatever the complexity level of the structure of the universe, there is a science behind it. There's a description behind it. And although we may not understand it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. It doesn't exist. It does. And we have to have the faith that what the Bhagavatam and the other scriptures are explaining is correct. And even if we don't have the faith and we think, no, this can't make sense, it shouldn't affect our bhakti, shouldn't affect our seva. Sometimes it is difficult to understand things, but if we let that difficulty impact us to the extent that we stop doing seva or lose faith, then we are the losers. And I've always understood, always also had the experience, when I don't understand something, we continue with our seva and we pray to the Lord, my dear Lord, don't fully understand. Please help me understand. And if the Lord is willing, wanting, allowing, he will allow us to understand. If he doesn't, that's fine as well. It's completely up to him. The Supreme Lord descended to this material world in the form of the sun, Surya Narayan, to benefit all the planets, dividing himself into 12 parts. He created seasonal forms and qualities such as heat, cold, etc. The sun god, who is Narayan or Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds, is situated in outer space between the upper and lower portions of the universe. As the sun passes through 12 signs of the zodiac, a year passes. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes. Above the sun is the moon. In 2 lunar fortnights, the moon travels through the equivalent of a samvatsara of the sun. In 2.25 days, it passes through a month of the sun. And in 1 day, it passes through a fortnight of the sun. The moon is a source of nectarian coolness that influences the growth of food grains, and therefore, this moon god, Soma, is considered the life of all living entities. Because the moon is full of potentialities, it represents the influence of the Supreme Lord and is called Manomaya, because he is the predominating deity of everyone's mind. So the moon has an impact on our mind. Sometimes we hear, when there's a full moon, the lunatics come out. I don't know if that's actually true or it's got any basis to it. But it's quite interesting. Even in the West, that's something that's commonly understood. Annamaya, because he gives potency to all herbs and plants. And he's called Amritamaya, because he's the source of life for all living entities. So the sun is important because the sun, actually, without the sun, it's very hard to exist. But the moon is equally important, what we can see from this. Another name for the moon, Saryamaya, because he pleases everyone. The demigods, Prithus, human beings, animals, birds, reptiles, trees, plants, all living entities. There are 28 stars above the moon that fix to the wheel of time. Above the stars is Venus, above Venus, Mercury, above them is Mars, above Mars is Jupiter, and then Saturn, above Saturn are the seven sages, Saptarishis. And they each have their own planet. And the purpose of the Saptarishis is to guide humanity, protect, give strength, etc. And all of them circumambulate Druvlok. So let's stop there. It's quite a lot to take in. Surinder, anything you'd like to share?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu, and Dandavat to all the Vaishnavas.
Hare Krishna.
Of course, it's a very detailed description of the planetary systems, etc., and which all related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because everything originates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is supreme proprietor of every lok, all planetary systems, every place. Krishna is a supreme enjoyer, and Krishna is a supreme friend. If we understand this way and practice our daily life centered towards Krishna's service, Hari Guru Vaishnava service, then it is okay, devotion. And understanding all these planetary systems, I mean, the main point is we have to dovetail it with what is related to Shuddha Bhakti. And yeah, I can say one about the sun planet and one about the moon planet or the moon god or the sun god. Yeah. So one with the sun planet or the sun god Surya Narayan. There is one verse in Brahma Samhita. It goes as follows: Yakchakshure sasavita sakala grahanam Raja samassa suramurti rashesha tejaha. Yes,
Yes.
Tejaha Jasyagya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakro Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So the main thing is that Surya Narayan is also worshipping Govinda, the original supreme person of Godhead, Sri Krishna, worshipping original Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna, Radha Krishna.
Right.
Main point understanding from this. All the details in this verse, it explains like how among all planets, the Surya is the topmost, etc. And it describes about the sun movement, etc. And also how he's a great devotee of Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna.
Mm.
Understanding in this way, in this regard, when we are listening about this Bhagavatam Katha, then we are reminded this way how to connect with the Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Supreme Person, original Supreme Person of Godhead, Govinda. And the second one is Soma. Soma is a moon god and therefore moon planet related there. So there is one verse in Prem Dhamdava Stotram like that. प्रेमधाम दिव्य दीर्घ देह देव नंदितम हेमकांज पुंज निंदी कांति चंद्र वंदितम नाम गण नृत्य नव्य दिव्य भाव मंदिरम प्रेमधाम देवमेवानोमि गौर सुंदरम. So in this verse it says one phrase Chandra Vanditam. So Chandra Dev or Soma, he is always doing Vandana of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He is a great devotee of Gauranga in
Mm.
this way. So we understand in this perspective, then we are connected in the mood of bhakti, and which is the best way to be connected. Yeah, Bhagavatam Lila, but we connect with the Supreme Presence of Godhead. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Nitai Gaur Haribol. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. It's very important, actually. Very good. Thank you. Very good contribution. Any other questions, any comments? Anybody?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Uh, I just want, it says there's a place where it says the moon is above the sun.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that mean? It's above in distance?
Yeah.
In,
Yeah. That's what it says.
yeah?
What it says. And that is the explanation in the Bhagavatam, other scriptures as well. The moon is beyond the sun. And that's a little hard for us to fully comprehend because we can perhaps understand from uh the astronauts who've gone to the moon apparently that it's not that far compared to the sun. But Prabhupada explained that actually the moon is a heavenly planet where the devatas live. And it's not possible to just go to the moon just like that. Maybe they went to another planet like Rahu or Ketu or something like that. And then they're thinking that this is the moon. But as far as Bhagavatam is concerned, yep, the distance of the sun is closer than the moon.
Well, I didn't know that.
And it's
I always thought the moon was
yeah,
closer, yeah.
it's hard to actually reconcile that. But
Eh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on, Prabhu.
no, go on, yeah.
No, say what, finish, and then I will ask you something else.
Okay. But we have place our faith in the Bhagavatam, so and
Yes.
even if this is perhaps not correct information, right? Just for argument's sake. So what? Who cares? Doesn't matter. It doesn't take anything away from the Bhagavatam because it's such a divine scripture. So this is where we are at. Yes, go on. Anything
Yeah,
else?
also, I don't know if I understood this part
Mm.
where you say that whoever takes birth in the Bharatvarsh. So does that mean in India? Yeah.
Yeah, at one point, the whole world, yes, it is primarily India. The whole world
Oh,
is Bharatvarsh. But specifically the tract of land below Jambudweep, which is Bharatvarsh, it looks like it is referring to India, basically.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So does that mean we leave this body, so if Lord Krishna wants to protect us, so we will have to take birth in India to make advancement in our spiritual life?
No,
No.
basically what this thing says is if you're born in Bharatvarsh, or because we have this connection with Bharatvarsh through, our birth, we may have been born in Mauritius or Nairobi or wherever, but because we have this connection through our parentage to Bharatvarsh, so we somehow we're really lucky. We've got access to the mercy flowing from the Lord's affection for Bharatvarsh. So we are considered Bharatiya.
Okay.
So this is really a blessing. And but of course there is an obligation. And the obligation is that we have to take Sanatana Dharma and then give it as well. So we have to take it in the sense of understanding, practicing, and we have to give it in the sense of sharing it with others in whatever way we can. We don't have to be great, like book distributors or preachers, talking to hundreds and thousands of people, but we just do it in whatever capacity, to the best of our ability. That's all.
Yes. Sometimes it's difficult. Some people they
Yeah,
don't have faith, and they say, oh, is that, do you believe in that?
yeah,
And
correct.
it's a bit difficult to, yeah, convince the person. Yeah.
Very hard. But our duty is simply to, try, because if we can connect the Lord, the soul with the Lord, our job is done, right? Whether they do not, they don't accept it or they don't connect, that's beside the that even doesn't matter. Our job is we've tried to connect, and
Yes,
and that's it. After that, no more emotions. If somebody connects, fantastic. If they don't connect, it's not the right time.
yes.
So, main thing is we try to connect and we give the opportunity for that connection to take place.
Maybe we can only pray for them that one day,
Yeah, yeah,
by the mercy of the Lord, they will understand. And, yeah.
that's true. And that also will please the Lord. Oh, he'll be thinking, my devotee is is praying for somebody, my lost son, my lost daughter, to come back to me. That pleases God very much.
Yeah.
Because if you can just imagine, if you have two children, one of them is sort of lost in the wind, and you think, how do I how do I get him back? So the Lord is thinking, I've lost my son here, my daughter. And if somebody is there praying for that son or daughter, how much that will please the Lord, how much we will be pleased if somebody is praying, I hope they can reconnect with their mother and father.
Mm,
That's really very powerful, actually. Very, very powerful. If we really want to please the Lord, we just try to connect others to the Lord. We connect ourselves, of course. That's primarily important. But we try to connect others as well to the best of our ability,
mm.
whatever that is.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
It's like Hanuman, he was throwing huge rocks, and the little squirrel was just throwing little pebbles onto.
Yeah.
Saw those both acts as equally important. So, we might think, we're not doing anything and get discouraged, but we shouldn't. We should think, okay, I'm going to try my best. It doesn't matter. It's nothing. And that's the right attitude. It's nothing. What can we possibly do for the Lord? He does everything. We're thinking, yes, I'm going to do something for you, my Lord. And this is where the squirrel, if we have that mood, that humble mood is very, very powerful. Very powerful. So,
Hare
thank
Krishna, Prabhuji.
you, Sanjivan.
Yes, now in the last paragraph, when planets circumambulate means they're surrounding the Dhruv. They don't move around the Dhruv, do they?
What do? They circumambulate Dhruvlok, because Dhruvlok is like the center point, if you like.
Center point, yes.
Everything goes around Dhruvlok. It's like the pivot,
So they do go around. They do circumambulate. Yes, they do go around the Dhruv. So this
yeah.
is a what I would say, a planetary system within the planetary system. Somebody.
That's right. It's complex. Yeah, you're right. There you go. There you go. This is like the pivot, and everything is going around Bhumandal. And I think that's part
Sun's moons, sun's axis goes around.
Yeah, the sun's axis, planets as well. Yeah.
But when this Dhruv is at the top, and so there are planets they take the move about Dhruv in their own orbit.
As well. Yeah, they have their own orbit, according to the last paragraph. Yeah. Yeah. All of them circumambulate Dhuvlok. Try to make sense of that. It's not easy. Not easy at all.
This mind, we cannot understand all this.
No.
And this, all the Jambudvip Islands, are they still there?
Yes, absolutely. This is the whole idea. All of this exists.
The various oceans and everything is there.
Everything is there, yeah. But of course, it's not in our vision, not with our eyes that we can see. But everything exists according to the Bhagavatam. Yes. Not just Bhagavatam, many scriptures, many of the Puranas explain the same thing. And I think what ISKCON is building in Mayapur, the Temple of Vedic VP.
Sanatorium.
Yeah. They are hopefully going to give an idea of this, how this actually works in that planetarium. So that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Visual sense, yeah. Very interesting. All right, thank you, Naniman. Hare Krishna. So let's stop there. Yes, Riyaj, of course. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.